Hey, how are we all doing? Sean from The Good Dog. Hey, look at that. That's a snotty scratch, we call it. Guys, we'll call this gearing up for the UK fun. So, as most of you know, me and Jeff Gelman are headed over to the UK. I think we're headed, July? Bad with dates, but I think July. Um, I already got that ball. For multiple seminars, Q&As, one-on-ones and such. And so that is already being met with a fair amount of friction, as you can imagine. For those of you who don't know, the UK, Australia, and a couple other spots, but the UK especially, and Australia, but the UK's got them by a nose, I think, is such a hotbed of hatred for any kind of tools that cause pain, any kind of training that is not positive only, it's not reward only, that is not force free, as they call it. And frankly, it's fascinating, guys. It's fascinating. You're hearing me do a lot more videos that are kind of based around some of these concepts, and I don't want to be a broken record, and I don't want to bore you guys, but I am trying to enlighten you guys as far as, like, because you're lucky enough not to be in this world, hopefully, where you're seeing like all this stuff constantly going on. So you may not be aware that, like, how deep and crazy and wild. And I know I've done a few videos sharing like some of the death threats and things like that have gone on with some other trainers. And so yesterday I put up a post, and it was a repost actually. Boy, this is bad buttons. It was a repost, worked, of my Prong Collar Essentials. So it's a bunch of videos I put together of prong collar do-it-yourself stuff, and I put them all in one spot with the goal of it being just, easier for everybody to access, so they could, go through the videos. They don't have to hunt for them, and just just to make it more accessible, easier to grab the info and do your thing. And it's a really, like, been a successful post. A lot of people really appreciate it, having them all in one spot, and awesome. So I go to Facebook this morning and I start looking through, and I always, like, I typically don't do a lot of responding in the morning. I typically do that in the evenings, but I always check everything in the morning, see what's cooking, see what's like taken off, see how things are going, see if there's any monkey business going on. And on that prong collar post, somebody, what they typically do, and I'm sorry about this stuff, guys. I know it's not super fascinating, but maybe it is. Maybe you'd be interested, because the thing that maybe is pertinent for folks that aren't in the UK or Australia or some other places where tools are banned is that this is kind of sweeping, and the goal of this sweep is to change the tools, methods, and what you're allowed to do and what you aren't allowed to do. And so it could actually be something that affects you not too far down the line if this steamrolling kind of machine keeps going. Basically, I wake up, start going to Facebook, and I look at, there's 111 comments. I'm like, good Lord, that's a lot of comments. When there's that many comments, when they spring up that quick, typically there's monkey business going on. Typically it means that there's a lot of back and forth going on within the comments, and it means what the pure positive folks tend to do is they see a post they don't like, and then they tag all their buddies, gals or guys, whatever, and then they all show up, and then they kind of do this whole kind of gang fight attack, right? So they kind of gang up, and then they all do all this kind of stuff about, like, you're a torturer, you're brutal, why don't you put this around your own freaking neck? And so, like, I did a bunch of screenshots, and then I delete, I ban. I don't like the stuff on the page. I could leave it there, and I contemplated leaving it there for folks so people could see what it really looks like. And it's always a hard one for me, because, like, I'd love for you guys to be able to see it and see how toxic and nasty and, like, it's supposed to be for the animals, but it's so freaking venomous towards human beings. Not to mention, not serving the animals, the dogs that they're supposed to be serving so highly. They're trying to take away all these tools. I mean, they're talking about ridiculous stuff about like all you need is patience and love. Love your fur babies. You don't need to hurt them and torture them to make them behave. All you have to do is use a kind, like, guys, ladies, gentlemen, like, are we really in a space currently in 2017 where this is going on, where people are honestly thinking that if you're just got a kind heart and you just speak nice to your dog and you just are patient and loving, that a dog that's biting a human being or another dog or is in some other negative space is just gonna stop it? I'm just blown away. I'm honestly like, I know I've been in this game for a while, but I'm blown away by it. And I'm blown away always by the venom behind it. It's so nasty. Like I said, maybe I'll post some of the screenshots so you guys can see them in a different context. Like I said, I struggle leaving them in the actual posts because I just feel like it detracts for people that are like perusing the posts. Like if you're somebody who's learning about prong collars and you see this stuff and it's like, you're a freaking horrible, like, put this around your neck and like, why are you tormenting dogs? And then like, I don't want it to deteriorate the experience for somebody that might be like, wow, I just put a prong collar on my dog a couple weeks ago and we're having a really great walk and things are going really well, and which is what a ton of those comments are, people sharing their experiences of like, I had a dog I couldn't walk and now I can. I had a dog who pulled me down and hurt my shoulder and now I can walk him and I'm comfortable, or I wouldn't be able to walk him without it. My little dog was having problems with this and now put a prong collar on, corrected him for like going after people. He doesn't do it. Like literally, like, I don't know, 80 something like comments of people talking about positive experiences with prong collars, and then this giant gaggle of people showing up undermining all those people's experiences and really just calling them names and saying they're horrible people. And I'm being really light here, I'm not using like profane language, but like just nasty, mean, evil stuff. And so I pull it out of there because I just don't want it to detract from the experience. I don't want my Facebook page to be this like, ugh, you know, just like vomit of negative stuff. But at the same time, there's a part of me that wants you guys to see what's going on. So like, I'm kind of trying to protect it and keep it feeling good. It's not because I'm trying to hide it. And like, I don't want anybody to know that part of the world doesn't agree with prong collars. Like, I've got no problem with that. But I'm really like, you know, it's a challenge of like, do you let your Facebook page become kind of this like spew fest of like ugliness? And frankly, I don't want that. I've always worked to try and kind of protect the people that go to my page, that it's primarily like a positive place where people can get information and share information, and basically the rules are like, if you're mean, rude, or disrespectful, you're toast, you know. And so I went through and it took me about 20 minutes to literally ban, delete, get rid of all of these folks with all this nasty stuff. And one of these people, I don't know, she must have commented 4 times the exact, all in caps, cut and paste, you know, you're a horrific human being torturing dogs, da, 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 why don't you, you know, like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she put it in like multiple spots within there. And you can tell that the emotion is so intense for these people. I mean, if you put yourself in their position, they're obviously like taking time out of their day and a lot of emotional energy being spent. So this is grabbing them at a really deep level. And this is kind of the interesting part of the conversation, and we've gotten into it a little bit before about what's the motivation behind this, why the intense emotionality. Now, if dogs were legitimately being mistreated and horrible stuff was going on, that's one thing, but we're talking about like all these people celebrating great experiences with prong collars, tools that are like inexpensive and can allow normal people to enjoy their dogs when they previously couldn't. So once again, I think it gets down to there's a couple different factors. One is personal experiences instead of universal experiences. People who have had easy dogs, then they project that onto everybody else, that if I've done it this way, you should do it this way. And then the part about human beings that have had a hard time at some point in their life with some experience with their own boundaries being pushed, being trespassed, being traumatized, being hurt, not feeling good about other people, whatever it might be, and then projecting that same level of their hurt onto like their helplessness onto dogs being helpless. And so their advocation, or they're advocating for the dogs, becomes this like surrogate kind of like proxy of advocating for themselves. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that that's at the heart. Like, there's the only reason where this emotionality comes from is from that spot of the self-hurt, and they're projecting it onto the dogs. And so they're really trying to protect themselves, or trying to find some way to heal themselves through this advocating. So, and we've already talked about this, so I don't want to go down this whole thing, but basically we're gearing up for this, you know, trip coming up in a couple months, and it's going to probably be a bit of a, I don't want to say a fest, but I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of fallout and angst and all sorts of stuff. But I just want you guys to know that this stuff is going on, and it's happening on a pretty widespread level. Like, we know that prong collars were just banned in, where was it? Ontario, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, there's other places contemplating it. And so they're really working hard to like remove these tools. And this whole kind of motion or movement is really sweeping, guys. So be super aware of what's going down, and if you can get involved, if you can spread the word, if you can, whatever you can do, it's something that you should contemplate doing, because that dog is barking. They're really, really working hard. So anyways, that's that. But I kind of just wanted to share with you guys, like, the level of nastiness is nasty. Maybe I'll put a few of the screenshots under this so you guys can kind of see what some of that stuff looks like and get a feel for it. But I get it all the time. I get it less than probably a lot of other trainers, because they know that I just ban and delete stuff, so it's not a lot of fun for them. But a lot of trainers will engage with them, and then it makes it fun, it makes it interesting, makes it worthwhile. They feel like they get some stuff out. But mainly I just wanted to share with you guys that, you know, this post that I put up that helped, that so many people are getting helped by it, and then so many people are expressing how they've already been helped by that post or other posts where people have shown them how to use a prong collar. All these people celebrating that they're actually able to enjoy their dogs and do well with their dogs and be in a good space with their dogs, and they're all being negated, they're all being undermined, they're all being told they're monsters for using these tools with their dogs, and they're in a great space with their dogs. Their dogs are getting to like walk with them, and getting to like stay in their home and stay alive and all that great stuff. And it's just, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see such a huge divide between people that have this intense emotionality, and that nothing should ever be done to a dog that makes them in the slightest bit uncomfortable, and then people that are more realistic and like, hey, this is life, and I'm trying to keep my dog in my home, and I want to be able to walk my dog, and I want to not have my dog bite my kids or jump on my kids, and so I need to actually have tools that actually work and can make that happen. And the argument is, of course, you don't need those tools. There's other methods, except, right, the broken record thing, they don't work. And that's why people end up turning to prong collars and, you know, e-collars and things like that, because they need results, because they need real life, they need things to actually happen. They need it to happen not in 6 months or a year or 2 years. They need it to happen within 3 weeks, a month, a couple of months. Not perfection, but like, they need to start seeing results. They're normal people with normal lives. They don't have time to train dogs 8 hours a day, and they need tools that work, and they need stuff that works for them. So don't know what the exact point of this post was, except to just share with you guys. Like, I don't have like a really like, boom, I want to nail this one home. I really just wanted to share that, like, I just got done taking all of this like venomous, nasty stuff out, and I guess I'm still, even at this point, still surprised that this gap between the ideology of wanting to advocate and love and nurture dogs, this huge divide between that and the reality of actually like taking care of dogs, of actually helping them stay alive, helping them stay in homes, helping humans enjoy them. I mean, this almost goes back to the trainer question I had the other day, where I talked about, is your dog trainer owner centric, or are they dog centric, right? And this kind of goes back, it's the same thing, except now we're talking about, are these human beings that we're talking about, are they dog centric, are they human centric? And I think if you ask the question, what you'll find is they're not human centric, they're dog centric. And there's nothing wrong with, I'm a huge dog lover, there's nothing wrong with loving dogs, but to not be human centric first, to not say we need to make sure that we take care of at least as much of the human being's experience as we do the dogs, is frankly just, it's, can you say flabbergasting? It's like such a, I don't even know if I'm using the word right. Flabbergasted, but flabbergasting perhaps. But that's really, I think, what it comes down to. I think it comes down to human beings that prioritize dogs over other human beings. And as long as that's going on, and seriously, if you think about it, like, who's going to prioritize a dog over another human being? Typically, it's going to be a human being that doesn't feel very good about other human beings, right? If you loved humans and you felt great about humans, and your biggest connection in life wasn't dogs, and your biggest safe spot to love and feel love wasn't dogs, and you had a healthy head on your shoulders, and you had a healthy emotional system, and you had a good connection with your community and the world around you, would you still feel the same compulsion to like advocate for the dogs at such a high level, and treat human beings so poorly, so crappily, and not care about their personal experiences? I don't, I don't, I don't think so. I don't think you can be someone who's in a good headspace, feel good about yourself, feel like you've done your work, feel like you've processed your stuff, feel like you've got the hurt and venom and nastiness out of your system, and feel good about other people, or feel good about yourself, and then treat other people this way. I don't think you can. I really think that's kind of the formula. The formula for all this stuff is unhappy people. Well, was it Gary Vee who said hurt people, and I really think that's true. I mean, he said it's so simple, but like, I don't think you can get around the fact that the people that are okay with hurting other human beings are hurt human beings. They never admit it. They're gonna say, I'm fine, I'm great, I've got friends, and da 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 da. But if you dig really deep down, I don't think you can escape the fact that anybody who's willing to prioritize a dog over a human being, something's going on, right? And this is by no stretch saying dogs don't matter. Man, do I love dogs. But I'm saying that human beings, if they're not on your radar as far as like they deserve to be happy and safe and fulfilled and comfortable and have a good quality of life, at least at the same level as a dog, something's going on, right? So I think hurt people hurt people. And I think that's a great way to put it. And I think that if we really take a close look at who's behind this movement and the emotional intensity behind it, I think we can all realize that emotional intensity like this only comes from a place of damage, right? Some people are going to say it comes from a place of like mission. But when dogs aren't being hurt, when dogs are actually being helped, when owners being able to keep them in their house and keep the dogs alive and all that good stuff, it's really hard to champion a mission where what you're stating is happening isn't happening. Do you know what I mean? Where your mission is to advocate and save the dogs, except that's what's happening through these tools and these things you're trying to get rid of. So your mission is actually not to save the dogs, and it's not to take care of the people. It's to take care of your ideology, your religion, your feelings, whatever it is that are helping you feel better about you for whatever unresolved stuff that you've got going on. That's my personal take on it. Anyways, I'll put a few like little like things under this. I don't want it to become some big slam fest, but I do want people to know what's going on. I do want people to know that it's pretty brutal stuff, and yeah, that's it. So John with the Good Dog, trying to fight the good fight, trying to put information out there that I think is true and valuable and helpful, and willing to take some shots to the chin for it. And yeah, so be careful, be aware, and know that they would love to take those tools and methodology, ability or availability from you as soon as possible.